Hey there, Bob Morrigan's Constant Gardener. Welcome to the OCG Fam Show, to you, my YouTube buddies, and Happy New Year's Eve 2022. Before we get started, don't forget about the sale. Big sale on nectar, 25% off at OCGFAM888.com. No code needed. Last sale of the year, obviously, but next year price is going up a little bit, so extra incentive to get in on savings. So let's get to the show. Nutrients and microbials, using the two of them together, doing a feed day and putting nutrients or putting the microbials in there. Is that a good idea? And if so, how, why, what? Scott talked about this. We had a question from Don Juan, and it was a good question, and he really got into the different kinds of microbials, and not just the feeding, but pH and a lot of different things. It's a really good clip. I think you'll find it informative. Please watch it. I'll talk to you after.
All right, Don Juan.
Don Juan.
Don Magic Juan.
He's great. Juan is his name. Juan.
I've got a question. I would love to hear Scott's take on it. It's well known about feed tea, my question, etc. My question is, would there be an adverse effect adding microbes to a feed? For instance, mixing regular feed, then pH, then add SLF 100 and, for example, some megaphos. I understand it's good to do a tea day, but just wondering about adding microbes with feed. There would be any reason to scientifically not to do it. Thanks for your time doing these shows. Blah, blah, blah. Thank you.
Shows.
So, Mammoth P.
No,
Megaphos. But these things of like...
Oh, the downfalls is a lot of the...
Yeah.
So, now SLF I don't have a concern about because it's suspended in a liquid and it handles pretty much any... I mean, it's designed in the harshest conditions, and that's where SLF was built.
Sure.
They make bad conditions. These things survive. There you go.
And it's by its nature general.
Oh, it's an ever-changing general.
Yeah. As opposed to someone went into a lab on someone else's money and created an exact thing that did an exact response in an exact situation and decided they could make money out of that.
Yeah.
Is that a good thing?
That's a whole other show. So... With like the products, especially spore-formed powders, I do not like adding them to nutritional days.
Yeah.
And it's because the spore is fragile.
Oh.
It's the spore, not the bacteria that is in the spore, not the fungus that will come from the spore, but the actual spore mixed into 1,500 parts per million of nutrition that could cook the spore.
As opposed to getting a little water on it so it wakes up and goes, sup, let's do this.
In the soil with oxygen, a little bit of protein, some aminos, and then they can start breaking it down and then colonizing the soil versus trying to wake up in a... It's like going, well, I went to bed and it was 62 degrees and I woke up and it was 197.
It's like the Matrix when it gets shot out of that thing.
Yeah.
It's like, what's going on, guys?
That's what would happen to most of them now. Like Photo Plus, because the way it's made, it's not in spore. They're actively living. So with Photo Plus, SLF, you can do your feed, pH it, because the pH change will kill microbes.
Sure.
So having that all pH and then adding those two in there, not a problem. Anything in powder form, on its own day with fresh water, give it a chance. I mean, I don't even like feeding the next day after a microbe because I don't want to jeopardize that germination of all those spores to become living organisms if I hit them too hard with a heavy feed.
So these are specialized specific things that can be extremely effective, but are not they're not good with a feed.
Not blended. Yeah. And that's it. For your bang for your buck. I mean, you're spending a lot of money on some of these products. I really focus on my microbes. The reason why we promote a microbial day is to give those microbes a chance before we start hitting them hard again with mid-bloom food with mycorrhiza spores in there. They're dead.
Yeah.
But if your mycorrhiza is germinated and done and it's now breathing oxygen, is attached to the roots, they'll eat everything in that bottle. But in a spore, you're cooking it.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, again, the baby and the adult thing.
Yeah.
It's like...
Not prepared for this. I got to just let me
I
chill
can
for
handle
a day
breast
here.
milk, but you give me a steak and it'll probably kill me because I won't know how to process
can't
it.
even eat it.
So it's, anything in the powder form I would highly encourage doing on its own day for its efficiency and for your wallet because you're spending a lot of money on products that you're just going to kill with a high ppm nutrition. Once they germinate, they're all hardy. They can
Yeah.
handle the food, but they just can't handle it before they're alive.
Okay.
Okay, what do you think? Informative, entertaining, helpful? Let me know in the comments and we'll talk about it. I love you. I'll see you tomorrow. The OCG Fam Show is pretty good. It happens every day. It's the OCG Fam Show. See you tomorrow.